Welcome back today to a brand new video here on the xSmithyx YouTube channel. Here today for round number 10 of the JGRL eSports season. Has been a while since the last one, I do apologise for that. My upload schedule at the minute has been a bit poor. Hopefully the next couple of weeks we're going to be able to sort that out for you and we will be able to continue with this series. So, if you've not seen the last episode, do go and check it out for the Vietnam Grand Prix around Hanoi. But spoiler warning for those of you who haven't seen it, we were robbed yet again of another race victory, coming home in P2, but putting us now into a very tight battle for P2 and P3 in the championship. Still looking for our second win of the season, has been quite a while now. Is today going to be the day when we can finally snap Chris's race win streak? He's up to 6 at the minute, we don't want to let him get to 7. So we're going to see today if we can break that around the Dutch Grand Prix here at Zandvoort. A track I do tend to like on this game. It is quite fun, quite flowing when you get the hang of it. So we're going to jump straight in today. Hopefully we can do a bit better, but let's jump straight into Q1 and get into the action. So you join us here in Q1 as we wind up for our first lap in anger around this incredible Zandvoort circuit. Obviously, unfortunately this season we're not going to see it in the real life F1, but hopefully next season we shall be here racing because it is a track I absolutely love. Such a flowing circuit as we go through turn 1 there. We're now going to come into this turn 2 and 3 complex, down a gear through there into this incredible banked corner. Considering Indianapolis when we race there, I think the banking on that track was about 9 degrees. The banking around Zandvoort is around 19, I believe. Absolutely incredible to see, and I can't wait to see real Formula 1 cars flying through there. As we come into this corner, very tricky, especially, again, as I said, I do race on a gamepad. But it's quite difficult to get the line right through there, because if you turn in slightly too late, you can't adjust your steering angle, really. Now into this very technical corner, very difficult to get the line and braking right through there. And now into this corner, this is very, very important. You need to get a good exit out of here onto this DRS straight in the race, because this is going to be one overtaking opportunity into this very, very tight chicane here. Hit the brake, we're going to bounce over the curb there. We can get away with that with the corner cutting rules we've got on. It does gain you a little bit of time. Now, as we head towards the final corner, this incredible banked corner, I really can't wait to see a Formula 1 car take this in anger. We go down one too many gears there, unfortunately, so it is going to affect our exit. You can see the fastest lap there, currently a 1:11.3. We've done this whole lap with no ERS and only in rich, so it's not going to be the fastest lap ever. So 1:12.3, and that will comfortably see us through Q1. This weekend, you can see we only have 11 people, so no issues getting through Q1. That was just a sight lap for me to just try and build up a bit of speed. So we are comfortably through. Now we go into Q2. Once again, you're going to see us winding up for this lap here. Nice and dry again. Unfortunately, though, we do make a bit of contact with the wall. I wasn't paying as much attention as I should have been there. And we do have some front wing damage to start our lap, so that's less than ideal. As we go into turn 1, you can see the understeer. We're on full lock there, and the car just not turning in. So that is going to hamper us on this lap. Getting my excuses in early, as all racing drivers do. But you can see into the bank corner now. Much better line through there this time. Less wide than we were in Q1. Up this hill, obviously you've got to make sure you get the line right. It's such an elevation change in real life. Not really able to capture that on this video, but it is an incredible circuit. Again, having to slow down a bit through there due to the front wing damage. Into this corner, normally I'd try and take that flat out, but not this time. Again, that damage really is affecting us. As we come through here, again, a corner I really don't like on that track. I could never seem to get that one right. Very late gear change there, trying to get the nose turned in to get a good exit, good rotation onto this straight. Very, very important you get a good exit here into this chicane. Very nice, once again, bouncing over that curb, down into second gear, once again late to get that rotation, get the car into the corner, in towards the final turn. Now we're going to jump down 2 gears, down to gear 4. That understeer does take a hold, and we're very, very wide on that curb. Not the ideal line through there. Round the banking now, down to the straight, nothing we can do but run to the line, and that will be a 1:11.2. So that would have been quicker than all the laps in Q1 combined, so that shows the improvement in pace. However, we are still some 7 tenths off Chris, but can we try and build up the speed as we go into Q3? Well, as we go into Q3, it is raining, and as you can see, coming through the banking there, we get a massive snap of oversteers. We're about to start our fast lap, so we're going to dump it down into standard rather than going for rich. And as you can see, as we come across the line, it's a 1:23.0. No idea at this point how good that lap is, but Chris is behind us. He crosses the line and goes 1.4 seconds quicker, so a great lap from him. Just showing how bad my lap was. And out of nowhere, Kai, he's got some incredible pace in the wet. Like he's a couple of tenths off in the dry. He's still a very quick driver, but as soon as it comes to any wet race, he is right up there. You can see we're trying to improve on this lap now. Coming up the hill though, we're going to see coming through here, just a little bit too much turning angle. We lose the back end and we are round, and that is our lap absolutely ruined in the wall. So Q3 not going to plan. The issue I have here is I need to spin the car around, but there are there are people coming up on laps, so I need to find a bit of a gap. If I stay here too long, I'm going to get disqualified. So here I try and flick spin the car, but just no grip. The car's not responding on the exit. We try and move out the way, but unfortunately Evan was coming up the hill. Just mistimed that, ruined Evan's lap. Unfortunately, I'm very sorry for that. It wasn't an intentional thing, I can guarantee that to you. But that is Evan's lap ruined. But as we come to the end of the session, it's quite strange, because here to me, looking at it now, it does look like it's raining more than it was when I set my fast lap. But as you're going to see, we're going to go up into Rich and Max, and now we're going to use ERS as Logan there leaves the party. But somehow, once again, it looks like at the end of this session, the track is actually drying out. It's actually going to get a lot quicker. You see, we've gained about 0.2 of a second already just through the first corner. No idea where this came from. Obviously, the fastest lap we did was on standard revs, so maybe that explains some of it, but the track just seems to have so much more grip. We were having a few issues with the parties. You see people joining and leaving. See, we're coming up the hill now. We're about 0.4 of a second up already, so that's a big improvement. We lose the rear end here though, and we go off the circuit, lose all that time that we've gained, so that's an absolute disaster there. There's people again leaving and joining the party while trying to do my fast lap. Not ideal really, but as you can see, we're only just up now, so we've lost a huge amount of time on this lap through the first sector. But you see, just through that one corner alone, we're 0.7 up now. So where would we have been with that extra half a second? It's going to remain to be seen. We come out this corner, a great exit this time, up to about a second clear now. This is absolutely incredible stuff. Don't know where all this grip's come from. We go purple to the middle sector, so what can this lap do? Where can we improve to? We're currently in P7, not where I want to be. Logan Josh is just ahead of us. He's shown some great pace recently. He's getting much better and up to speed after maybe a disappointing first couple of races. But as we come around the bank, and you can see we're nearly 2 seconds up on this lap. Absolutely incredible. We brushed the wall a little bit there, less than ideal, but it's not going to affect us. As we cross the line, it's a 1:21.1, and we end up 0.7 away from pole position and starting in P3. So where could we have been without that mistake on that lap? We could easily have been in that fight for pole position today. We're going to settle for P3. Evan gets pole from Kai, again showing that great pace Kai's got in the wet. Chris is going to start P4 just ahead of Jack Games. Haymaker in P6 ahead of Logan Josh in the Alpha Tauri. You can see X O'Connor, the one and only, and Mr. Dodo. Unfortunately, they got disconnected from the sessions and couldn't set a lap in Q3. So disappointment for them, but the game isn't done yet. As we go to the race, it's now going to be full wet conditions. The first time I've ever raced in these conditions. So we're going to take all the fuel out of the car, because we're probably going to be running in lean revs just to try and save a bit of fuel and keep the wheel spin down. But as we go to 5 red lights, keep an eye on Kai here. Just before the lights go out, Kai does jump the start. I react to that, but very luckily for me, just as I let go of the clutch to go, the lights went out, so I got the absolute perfect start here. You see, we jumped Kai, we're already battling for the lead. It's our turn this time to dive up the inside of Evan and get a good start on him. As you can see, ghost a little bit there, not quite sure what happened. He got on the curb, but no harm done. A little bit of oversteer from us there, as I realise I have left overtake on, so we're going to turn that off immediately. But as you can see, taking it very tentatively there, Evan plants the power down perfectly. He's gained a huge gap coming off that corner, but I just don't know where the grip is at. Like I said, I've never driven on full wet tyres in heavy rain in a race condition on this game. Like, I have no idea how hard I can push, and I don't want to bin it on that one. You see, it's a 36 lap race. We've got a long way to go yet, and I do not want to be risking the car on the first lap. I can't remember who said it, but there is a quote from a racing driver. It might have been Martin Brundle actually. You can't win the race at turn 1, you can only lose it. And that is something that I take to heart in this. So we're going to try and just keep the car on the track, build our pace up. You see Evan's got the gap up to about 1.5 seconds already. You can see just how much fuel already, just running in standard because of all the wheel spin. We've lost, what is that, minus 0.14, something like that, laps of fuel. Can't really see from my little editing window. But yeah, that is the reason we took all the fuel out, because we're going to run in lean just to save the rear tyres from spinning up. But it also means we're going to be saving fuel, so we don't want to already have about 2 laps of fuel in the car, because that is really going to slow us down. As we come to the end of lap 1 though, we're going to have to dump it up a bit here, because Kai's going to put us under a little bit of pressure. Not quite close enough to have a look. He is going to try it around the outside, but he's not got enough space there to get that move done. So Evan leads us around lap 1. We're in P2, just ahead of Kai. Chris is still in P4's maintained position, and you see X O'Connor, despite starting P8 after that disconnect in Q3, he is in P5 already, so great pace from him, and he's going to be someone to watch as this race goes on. But as you can see, Evan now up to about 2 seconds clear, and at this point this is where the gap sort of stabilises. We don't really let Evan get too far ahead of us. You see we make a bit of a mistake there, we got a little bit wide. Kai tried to have a look up the inside there, but that's really not an overtaking spot. If you try and dive it up the inside there, you're almost certain to just destroy someone's race, destroy your own race maybe. We get a little bit of a touch there on the back from Kai, so we're going to cut across here just to make sure he can't send one up the inside. We want to keep that clean air in front of us, because once we get up to speed and we get up to pace, we don't want to be stuck in someone's dirty air. So we are going to just defend for this first couple of laps, and hopefully in time we're going to be able to close that gap up to Evan, who is leading this race. Obviously, remember, he is just behind us in the championship, so we don't want to be losing points to him, but we also want to be gaining points on Chris down in P4, because he is, I can tell you, very close to be able to secure this championship in the next couple of rounds. You see some yellow flags behind. I think Jack binned it into a wall, and I'm not sure if he lost his front wing and had to pit. I'm not too sure on that. As you can see, Evan sets the fastest lap. We go purple to the final sector, and as you can see, that gap to the leader is now starting to stabilise. We go on to the end of lap 4 now. You see Chris is now the person behind us. Kai did have to make a drive-through penalty for jumping the start, and that has dropped him down the field, but as you can see, we have now set the fastest lap of the race, and we have started to reel in Evan, the gap now under a second. So as you can see, like I said, we were just going to build up our pace in this race. I knew at the start that I'd be a bit tentative, but now I've sort of got to grips with how the car's handling, got to grips with this circuit. We're starting to push just that little bit more now, and starting to put the pressure on Evan, but Chris is coming with us. He's only 0.6 of a second behind, and as you can see in the top left there, we have managed to build a gap out to X O'Connor. Maybe not as confident around this track. He is about 8 seconds off this lead fight, but you know, one bit of contact between us and he could be right up here with us. So as we come through the middle sector, you see purple once again there, so just showing we are starting to put the pressure on Evan now. Getting very, very close. The gap down to under half a second nearly through that corner, considering it was about 2.3 just 2 or 3 laps ago. So I'm not sure if this is Evan starting to struggle or if this is just our pace picking up. Chris is trying to go around the outside here. You can see that from the proximity ammo, so we're going to have to use a little bit of overtake mode just to secure our position. But into this hairpin, in the wet, it's not really an overtaking spot. If you outbrake yourself there, you're going straight into the gravel. So Chris wisely backs out of it, and we are now still in P2, but getting ever closer to Evan. It has cost us a little bit of time, but hopefully we can bridge that gap back to him and try and get a move done in the next few laps as the pit window starts to come towards us. The track is scheduled to dry out at some point, so we are going to have to keep an eye on that. You see Chris is very, very close, but not close enough to have a dive up the inside into turn 1. But he's just playing the long game here, I think. But as we go on to the end of lap 7 now, through the bank corner, this really is one of the key turning points in this race. We come round here, we get a little bit of oversteer, so we have to back off. But Chris behind us gets a huge snap of oversteer. I don't know. Obviously, I am racing against Australians. Chris is from there. I don't know if there was any lag involved in that or if he just dropped the car in the wet. But Chris absolutely slammed into the wall, lost his front wing. Very, very lucky at that kind of speed to not retire. But he has had to pit and go onto a new set of wet tyres, and he's going to be dropped way down the field. But even more remarkably, if you look in P3, Kai, despite having made a drive-through penalty, is already back into the top 3 and only 10 seconds behind us. Like I said in qualifying, I don't understand where he gets this incredible pace from in the wet, but you know, fair play to him. Absolutely remarkable stuff to be back up into P3 already. The yellow flag here for our teammate off the circuit. So once again, Vando struggling today, not really backing us up as much as we would have liked, but fair enough to him. He's trying his best. Can't ask for any more than that. But in our battle here with Evan, we're going to come around this corner now. The track does look like it's drying out, and we are going to get the call here from Jeff that it is time for intermediate tyres. So we're going to confirm that at the end of this lap we are going to come in. The track does seem to be drying out, and I do feel that going on to the inters we will be able to gain so much more time than this at the minute. Also, hopefully we can try and jump Evan in the pits, maybe get some clean air, because I think at this point Evan is starting to hold us up. I think this is one of the areas I do seem to be quite good, is the change between the wet and the intermediates. I seem to have so much more confidence at this part of the lap. As you can see though, we're going to come into the pits. Evan incredibly decides not to. He did get the call from Jeff, and I do remember him saying at the time he just didn't think it was ready, so he decides to stay out for one more lap. Everybody else is going to come in, but this is also going to be more pain for Chris. If you remember that crash a lap ago, he had to pit and he went onto wet tyres, so he's got to make another pit stop in this race for inters now. So that's a disaster for him. But for us, we're onto the intermediates. We're going to look at the top left corner. That gap to Evan is going to be about 16 seconds as we leave the pit lane. And you're going to see in a second, as we cut towards the end of this lap for us, that gap is going to drop all the way down to 8.5 seconds. We have gained 6 seconds in one lap just by switching onto the intermediates. So Evan made a massive mistake there. That is going to drop him way down the field, and it is going to promote us finally back into the, well, I say back into the lead, we haven't led this race yet, But we are now into the lead of the Grand Prix. It's going to be a very, very comfortable lead as well, because as you're going to see in a second, Kai is actually also going to jump Chris, so we're going to have about an 8-second lead in this race. And this race was the day after Vietnam, so at this point I was thinking, surely, for the second time in 2 days, we are not going to bottle a lead this big. So obviously, you remember last time out, we had about a 7-second gap to Chris, and he closed it all up in about 3 laps. So this time, it's not Chris chasing us, it is Kai. Like I said, he does have great pace in the wet, but hopefully this time we can keep this gap, and we are well on the way to getting our second race win of the season. We go a little bit wide there. Jack does go fastest, showing just how much the track is drying out, because Jack is a bit further down the field, but if he's managing to set the fastest lap of the race, then, you know, the track must be going a little bit drier, no offence to Jack there. But as we come now down towards the end of lap 13, you can see the gap is down to 4.5 seconds. So Kai was gaining through this period, but as we're going to come through the banking here, you see DRS is now enabled, and we are going to get the call that it's now time for dry tyres just a few laps after we've gone on to the intermediates. Absolutely remarkable stuff there, so we're going to box immediately straight away, but not for the softs. We're going to go on to the medium compound tyres in this race. We come into the pits, we're going to put the mediums on. That was solely because I thought maybe we could get to the end on this tyre. We get held in the pits by Kai, and Kai is also going to go onto the soft tyres. So he's going to have gained a bit of time on us here, and he's going to have the quicker tyre. So this is going to get quite interesting now. Kai's had good pace in this race. Obviously he's made an extra stop, effectively having to do that drive-through, and he's now just a few seconds behind us. So he's going to come out the pits about 3 seconds off the back of us, but at this moment in time, I was being super tentative because I didn't want to spin out at this point. You see, checking the pit window, we actually can't go to the end on this tyre, so we are going to have to pit again. That's a bit unfortunate. Maybe I should have gone for the hards. But now you can see I'm going very tentatively. I don't want to spin out, but you look at that gap in the top left. Mainly through this part of the track, Kai was so much quicker than me. See that gap down to 2 seconds, 1.9, 1.8. He's gained almost 1.5 seconds in half a lap. So once again, it looks like I'm well on the way to doing another one of my famous bottle jobs here. Hopefully not though. Can we keep him behind us? I do hope so, because I would like to get my second win of the season. Kai's trying to get his first win, trying to become the 5th different race winner of this season. You can see we go purple to the middle sector, showing just how much the track is starting to dry out now. But Kai is almost in DRS already. In fact, off this corner, that little bit of oversteer puts him in DRS of us already. So in 1 lap, he's gained about 2 seconds on us. So this was quite alarming at this point. I just don't have the confidence at this moment in time to start pushing. And now we're going to have to start thinking about defending from that racing point. Obviously, you can see purple to the middle and final sectors. Kai's going to have gone quicker, but the track's drying out. And we have now got a battle on our hands, a straight fight between me and Kai. As you can see, coming through this middle sector now on lap 16. So it's a couple of laps later, he's still in that gap behind us. Still unable to get through, so once again doing another good job here of defending. But as we come through the middle sector, we come into this corner, we get a little tap there. Kai diving up the inside of an AI, makes a bit of contact with us. It wasn't intentional, and I'm not sure he did make contact on his screen. You see pushing us through that corner as well, just telling us to get a move on, because he is much quicker at this stage of the race, but we just need to try and keep him behind. If we can hold him behind us and keep him in that dirty air, his tyres will start to go off, and then we will have the advantage. But for now, on that grippier tyre, he is going to be closing up, he is going to be putting us under pressure, and as you can see, into the banking once more. He's just a couple of tenths behind us. Thankfully, these back markers are going to be giving us DRS, so we have got an opportunity to defend here. You see, he makes a little bit of contact with the wall there, Kai, actually, but thanks to this DRS assistance, he's not going to be able to get close to us on this lap. We dive it into turn 1 through the lapped cars there, and we do maintain the lead here on lap 17, only about halfway through the race. There is a long way to go yet, and we do still have to make another stop, as does Kai. But the interesting thing is, he's going to have to pit potentially before us, because he's on those softer tyres. This time we come through the banking, make a little bit of contact with the wall. He's much closer this time, so we're going to have to go defensive. He's in the slipstream, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. He tries to have a look at the inside, but we have it covered. But Kai, as I was trying to say, he is potentially going to be getting an undercut on us, because he's on the soft tyres. He surely will have to stop earlier, and that means we are going to have to try and build a gap at some point to make sure that we don't get undercut from him. But at the moment we are struggling to do that because we just don't have the pace. The problem for me at this point, I think, was that I just didn't have the confidence. With the track still being that little bit wet, that little bit damp, it just didn't have the grip on this tyre, so we weren't able to attack. But as you can see, this lap, the track dries up enormously. You can see in that first sector, we get another little nudge there. we went up by 1.2 seconds on our fastest lap. You can see currently our best laps are 1:19.2. Chris has just set a 1:16.4. So the track on this lap, I don't know why or how, but in one lap the track got like seconds and seconds a lap quicker. And this really started to give me the confidence. You can see he was really being aggressive on that curve now, planting the power much earlier. And this is going to be the point in the race where things start to change, because now I've got the confidence in the car, I can start to unleash some of this pace that I know that I have around this track. You can see we're going to set a personal best lap. You can see currently it's a 1:19.2 our best, we improved that to a 1:16.6. So 2.6 seconds in one lap is how much the track has just evolved. And now we can start to try and attack and try and build that gap. You see Evan is now coming to join the party. He sets the new fastest lap of the race and he's only about 6 seconds behind. But my thinking here, I knew that I was quicker than Kai around this track just from the practice we have done in the past. Time trial, all this kind of stuff that we've done. I know that I have the better raw pace around this circuit. What I think was keeping Kai with me was the DRS. He's gaining about 4 or 5 tenths around a lap just from having DRS on us. So now that I've got the confidence, you see purple through the first sector, we are going to put our foot down. Hopefully if we can break that DRS, I think I might be able to pull away from Kai here. So it's going to take a good couple of laps. See, Chris improves the fastest lap down to a 1:15.4. So the track's just getting quicker and quicker. Now the rain has fully stopped, as you can see on the screen. Through the middle sector, once again, we're purple to that as well. Up by 2 seconds on our best lap. We are very close to breaking that DRS. The gap's up to about 9 tenths of a second now. So we are going to be able to break it, hopefully in the next couple of laps. And that should allow us to try and pull away and make this a little bit more comfortable for ourselves. Protect ourselves from the undercut, but also pull a gap to those behind us. Obviously Evan, you saw, did set the fastest lap the last lap around. We've set a 14.3, just showing just how much track evolution has happened. But also we need to keep an eye. If you look on the top left there, you see in 4th place X O'Connor decided to go onto the hard tyres, and I don't think he is stopping again at this stage of the race. He's not planning to at this stage of the race. So that means we need to try and clear him by the time we come out of the pit. So we do need to try and get a move on here. Try and build up the gap to people. You can see the gap to Kai is now just over a second. So if we can maintain it through this middle part of the lap where he has been strongest, if we can stay over a second ahead, we are going to be in with a great opportunity in this one to break the DRS and start to use these tyres, use the pace to try and build the gap. And hopefully then that will put us in a great position to try and win. Chris steals back the fastest lap, showing just what good pace he had. So I think had he been in this race, it would have been very hard to defend, but I honestly think with the pace we're showing, we might have actually had the pace to keep Chris behind us regardless of what has happened. So that is interesting to see, because Chris, as we've seen, has been superhuman so far this season, and showing that we've got pretty similar pace to him around this track. I'm very happy to see that. As you can see, we have now broken the DRS, so hopefully the next few laps we're going to see a gap form. As we go on to lap 26, you can see the gap is up to 3.5 seconds, so my theory was right. We easily managed to drop Kai. You can see we were supposed to pit this lap. Somehow Kai still hadn't pitted. He's going to pit on this lap. Now the reason that I didn't come in is because of Evan there in P3. He's only 9 seconds behind, and I didn't know if he was going to try and stretch it out to go to the end of the race, because I didn't really want to have to try and close up like a 12-13 second gap. So what I decided to do was just go an extra lap. Evan thankfully does decide to come into the pit, so there's no issue there. So we are going to come in on this lap. Here we are, nice and easy. You see Evan has managed to jump Kai. Kai had a bit of an off, I believe, on his outlap, so that has really made things easier for us. Thankfully so, because we do get a very slow pit stop here, 4 seconds. But we're onto the soft tyres now. Evan is now the person behind us who's going to be trying to beat us in this race. He's going to come out, I think we come out about 7 or 8 seconds ahead. It's a very, very comfortable margin. And as you see, once again coming out the pits in the lead of the race. And there's our old friend Canadian from last time out, once again in front of us. So yeah, 7 seconds gap. Nothing really happened in this last stint. You can see we've jumped all the way to the last lap of the race and we're still 8.5 seconds clear. So as long as we do not bottle it on this final lap, it looks like we are well on our way to getting our second win of the season. We're going to become only the second person to win more than one race. And it has been so long, so I'm trying so hard on this lap. You don't understand how hard I was focusing on just not making mistakes. I'm not pushing at all really. Not trying to go for a faster lap, not trying to beat anything. I'm purely focused on keeping it on the island. You can see the gap to Evan, 8.7 seconds. Kai couldn't recover after he made that mistake, and obviously he's on the mediums now, so it's his turn to really struggle with the pace of those tyres. But as you can see, we're going to come round the banking. Surely nothing can go wrong now. See, Logan leaves the party, but we're going to come around the banking. We're not going to hit the wall, and we are finally going to secure our second win of the season. It's been long enough, but we're back on the top step, back where we belong. Whew, finally. Oh, I was so happy with this result. I think I audibly screamed when I crossed the line. Obviously, Chris winning 6 races in a row. It's been so long for us since we stood on this top step, but a great drive from us today. Holding off everyone, obviously, helped a bit by Chris binning it early on. Obviously, like I said, don't know if that was because of us or not, but we have secured a win. Evan, great drive from him to get P2, and Kai, recovering from that penalty very early on, is in P3. But there are your race results for this race. You can see the top 3 there, you've already gone through. X O'Connor gets a nice P4, very good for him. Chris recovered to P5, great drive from him considering, like I said, he had to pit and made an extra pit stop over everyone else, so he finishes in P5 in this race. Haymaker gets P6, just ahead of Jack Games in P7. Canadian gets 8, so some more points for Williams there. B Dodo got P9 for Alpha Tauri, getting another couple of points. And Mr. Dodo rounds out the top 10 for Ferrari. As we look at the Drivers' Championship then, Chris maintains his lead at the top of the table on 208 points. We have closed right up to the back of X O'Connor now after that great result from us. We are now just 2 points off second place. Evan has come with us, he's on 117, just behind us in P4. Kai, after that podium, has managed to pull away from that midfield battle. He's on 79 points, up in P5. And then that very tight midfield got the one and only Haymaker, Vando and Jack, all separated by just 11 points with a few rounds to go. Very interesting to watch. And Vivid Bull there in the Red Bull rounds out the top 10 at this stage with 26 points. On to the Constructors, and McLaren looked pretty much certain to win that championship. A huge lead over everyone else, 62 points. They are way in the lead. Renault, here we are. We have gained massively on Mercedes this race. We are now just 11 points behind in the battle for second. The battle for 4th place is hotting up between Racing Point and Ferrari. Evan, now having a teammate, is really helping him close up, and as you can see at the bottom there, the battle not to finish last in the championship is between Red Bull, Williams and Alpha Tauri. All of them tied on 30 points with just 4 rounds remaining at this stage. Going to be very interesting to watch, but this has been it for the Dutch Grand Prix here at Zandvoort. Great result for us, we're definitely very, very happy with that. Great drive, another win, second win of the season, so smash that like button and do subscribe if you are new here. Keep up to date with this series, we've got a few rounds to go. Really going to be pushing to secure that P2 in the championship in our debut season if we can. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is enough for today's video. Like I said, do leave a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. It does really let me know what stuff you are enjoying, and it also does help the channel out massively, more than you guys understand. Do subscribe if you are new. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you've enjoyed it. If you have any ideas for things you want to see on the F1 2020 game, drop them in the comments. I will definitely have a look at doing them for you. But that has been it for this episode. I do hope to see you in the next one for the Japanese Grand Prix, I believe it is, which should be out sometime this week. But I've been xSmithyx. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much, and goodbye.